Okay, here we got my military lightweight, which I bought off eBay. Absolutely in love with this car. It was running a bit rough and lumpy, so I've put 2 new fuel tanks on it, sorted out the fuel pump, and she runs beautifully now. So now I know she's solid, all that remains is really give it a new lick of paint. So I'm just starting down the hand rub, and I'm going to go for the good old-fashioned B&Q roller paint method that's traditional for all Land Rovers of this age. So watch this space. Okay, so I'm just starting on the bonnet here. I'm not going to take it back to the aluminium. I'm using a really coarse, not really sure what this is, almost metal, but it's like a coarse, rather than sandpaper, quite a coarse grain. I'm just taking the surface paint off. I'm just going to rough this up and then roller paint over the top of it once it's clean and I've wiped it down. So I've taken off everything I can take off. I've got a small Dremel just to get into the hard to reach spaces. And then I'm going to give it a good roller paint with a nice B&Q roller. So here's a bit of the wing. Just taking that top layer of old NATO paint off, and where it's cracked, you see here there's layers of paint coming through that are going to show up in my new paint job. I'm going to go over those with a Dremel. I'm trying to get these back to flat, so there's a good purchase for the new paint. I'm going with gloss paint, which is probably a bad idea, but because I want it to look straight and nice, look at this, the valances or whatever these are called are a bit bent on this old Land Rover. So I'm going to have a go at bending those back in with a trusty pair of pliers. Yeah, they're going to need more than a pair of pliers, so I'll probably put a piece of wood on this and whack it back in with a hammer. Okay, so I'm midway through. I've done some hand sanding, and then I've taken a Dremel with a little sanding adapter just around the really rough bits. So where the paint was flaking off, I didn't want to use it as a base layer. So I've taken a lot of the stuff off with the Dremel. I'm going to have to sand it back a little bit now, just to where the old paint is still sticking to the metal. I don't want to take it right back. I'm not going for perfection here. I am going for a quick and fairly cheap job to make maximum benefit of getting this Land Rover looking fairly decent, like I said, a new lick of paint. So as I say, not going for perfection, but spots like this where you can see the layers and layers of old NATO paint were flaking anyway, there was no point painting over that because it was just flaked underneath in a little while and caused me more problems. So I'm going to sand this back to where the paint has still got a good purchase on the chassis, and then I'm going to go over it, give it a good old wipe down. What I'll do first is take it for a drive and try and get all the dust to blow off, and then come back and give it a good wipe down with a paint preparer. Watch this space. Okay, Land Rover update. I've rollered and painted the Landy now. I didn't film it because I was doing it on my own, and also I was a little bit embarrassed. I have seriously screwed up with the paint choice of choice of paint colour. Look at this. When I bought this on the interweb, I thought it looks a bit like British Racing Green. It's a bit bright. It looks a bit Kermit the Frog-like, so not your traditional Landy colour. I'm quite pleased with the way the paint's gone on. It's not too bad really, at least for, you know, I'm pretty amateur, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm a bit of a bodger, but it doesn't look awful, but the paint, the actual colour is terrible. So I'm going to use this as a primer layer, basically as a base coat, and tomorrow I'm going to put good old-fashioned bronze green. I don't think I could be seen dead driving a lovely military lightweight with such an atrocious colour. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to roller back over that tomorrow with the factory bronze green, and I'm hoping it will serve as a nice base coat. But there you go, there's the update. Appalling choice. Don't buy paint colours on the internet without checking what they are first.